Hey everyone, Alex here from the Retro Review. Today, we are taking a look at something very special, and that is the macOS 10 Leopard beta, running on my iMac G3, 500 megahertz. This is build 9A241, compiled in probably early to mid 2006. The absolute last build that'll run on a G3 is the beta build known as 9A303. So there were a few beta builds that were compatible with the G3s, including mine I have here. Let's continue. Let's install. At this point in the development of Leopard, basically this is just like any Tiger installation. Let's go options here. Okay, that's all good. Let's hit continue. Go to customize. Don't need printer drivers or additional fonts. This build is the first to include Time Machine, a feature that would be a staple in later OS X releases such as Leopard and Snow Leopard. Now, the only thing that is broken in this build, as of what I know, Safari won't launch on the G3. I might be able to get a hold of a copy of 3.0.4, which is what's installed with this. iTunes works just fine, even though it is an older release. That'll work just fine, but you can't upgrade iTunes because you can't upgrade QuickTime. Upgrading QuickTime will break your installation of this build all the way up to 303. So the build that I was trying before, like after this one, was 343, and that one never really wanted to boot up. This one, on the other hand, cooperates perfectly and even has the graphics working just like in Tiger. So this is so early on that the only thing that they really have implemented at this point is Time Machine, I believe. And that's like the only difference. The only other difference is that it reads 10.5 in the About This Mac panel. This won't take too terribly long. This is just a base install because I don't need any of the other crap. I tried running, in terms of web browsers, I tried running 10.4 Fox, and that did not work at all. Like, straight up. However, I was able to install my wireless drivers that I use with Tiger on this machine, and that works just fine on this build of Leopard. So I guess I'm trading one thing for another. in terms of compatibility here, but aside from that, you can actually, if you wanted to, load up the classic environment. Yes, this build still includes it from my own sleuthing after installing this build. So, yes, early on you could still do classic environment. It wasn't until the later builds that changed the user interface was when I think they dropped the classic environment. Aside from this, there really isn't much else to say about this build. I think build 303 would be a bit more forgiving in some ways. But running this early of a build is actually kind of interesting. That the only thing that they did to block G3s from running this build was simply put a specific section of code in to where it would block it. And by simply removing that block, you can install it just normally. And that's what I just did here in order to achieve this. There are ways to make this look like actual Leopard, so I might do that I might cover that at some point, but yeah, this is actually my first video at my new desk area here. Be sure to like the video if you did like it, share it, subscribe if you're new. I upload videos as soon as I can. This is more or less just a video to show that yes, it is possible to run Leopard, but not the final or some of the later beta builds. And yet again, like I said, builds 241 or 231 all the way to 303 of Leopard will work. .343 would have been interesting, but at the same time, I didn't really see much of a difference between this and that. This hard drive is the original that was in this machine since the previous owner had it. I really don't know who the previous owner was. All I know is that I found this machine in really good shape in 2018 or 19. I can't remember exactly when. All I know is it was around the month of my birthday, I want to say. And I've had it ever since. So this was like $100 and something purchase at the time, and it's just a joy to fire up this machine every once in a while, just for the heck of it. I always find myself coming back to this machine because of the significance it has to me. Even though this is not my exact machine that I experienced the Mac on, it is pretty dang close in the sense that it has a CD-ROM drive. And heck, this is actually a better machine than what my schools had at the time, too. This is a 500 megahertz, and the systems that my school had were like 333, I think. And they were the Rev D tray loaders, I think. Man, it's been a really long time since I last fired up a machine like this. Before I got this machine, that is. It was like a really, really long time. But anyhow, once this installs, we should be presented with the Tiger welcome video, because, well, Leopard was based on Tiger. 80, 81. It's not slow by any means. It's just gonna be. It's just gonna be kinda. It's just gonna be a bit. A bit crazy, but this is running the native resolution of this CRT at 1024 by 768 at, I believe, 75 hertz. I was lucky to figure out that these machines, compared with the iMac, which I assume was a 5:4 aspect ratio, that it doesn't run at the same refresh rates as the CRT and an iMac, like this one. It really boggles my mind that I have more luck with alternate operating systems on this system than I do the iMac. And they're basically the same style of machine. Apple really screwed people over wanting to experience alternate operating systems on the iMac, that is. As I've stated in one of my previous videos, I do own an iMac. It just currently is sitting in my storage side, in which eventually I plan on somehow having both the iMac and the iMac both on the same table. It's just a matter of time before I actually get around to it. And the only other thing that I know of about build 9A241 is that the QuickTime player doesn't work because it's a beta build. And yes, Apple had a sort of time bomb in that version of QuickTime. So I wouldn't be able to show you the build number even if I could. However, the build of iTunes, on the other hand, that is installed with this build, works perfectly fine. You can still use it just like you would any other. The only other thing that I'd like to do is update the version of QuickTime to a older version, like QuickTime, like a QuickTime version that is compatible with iTunes 7, because the build 9A343 came with iTunes 7.0.4, I think. And I just don't know exactly what version of QuickTime corresponds with that one. If I can manage to upgrade this to iTunes 7 and the corresponding QuickTime, then that would be amazing. Alright, let's see if I can actually do this. $60. 60%. Well, I'll tell you guys what. I'll tell you guys what. I will come back to you guys in a second part and show you guys what's in this build when I get the chance, because this installation process is taking way too long. I'll see you guys in the next part. See ya.